Peace, beautiful people.
Peace, beautiful people.
You can't do start overs. That's the good thing.
Peace, beautiful people of the world, which is what I was trying to say. Hey y'all, what's up? This is your girl, Shebah Saturn.
King Quick.
King Quick on Lifestyle and Love. And this is our girl,
Rajani Wadada.
Wadada. I love how she says that. And the universe and the creator saw it fit for all of us to come together in this space and time. It was not planned. So this is what the beauty of living by faith. It unfolds naturally and beautifully. We're going to talk about a really important topic today, and that topic is jealousy. And I'm going to throw it to...
So first off, let's get a little drum roll. Because Rajania is our first guest on Lifestyle and Love.
So honored.
And so people don't know, not only is this family, right? You know, we would like you to introduce yourself. Let's let the world modestly, but don't bite your tongue.
All right.
Don't bite your tongue. Let them know who you
and
are.
If not, I'll tell them who you are.
You know what I'm saying? Word up. Like, we'll tell the world who you are.
You can tell them. I'm Rajani Wadada.
And Rajania.
And Rajania is an amazing healer of the arts.
Right.
She's an art healer. She's a painter. She's a commendable, honorable teacher, woman, mother who I learned from, just in the way that she carries herself as an individual. She's got that. When I think of you, I think of divine femininity. I think of nurturing. I think of one who has the capacity to listen, one who is aware and emotionally intelligent, and you represent the formlessness that is form, and the stillness that is moving and dancing.
Wow, poet.
Yeah, you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do.
And she's an amazing yoga teacher. Actually, when I was going through some of my injuries, Sheba was like, do yoga with me, but Sheba would be putting me to work. So I was like, I need something a little bit more gentle. And go figure, Rajani was teaching gentle yoga.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I went there, and it helped me a lot, and it helped heal me. Those that know me know I tear my body up and I have fun doing it. But it's not fun healing. So you have to deal with the right therapists, the right healers, not just therapists, but healers. So Rajania happens to be one of those wonderful women of Wakanda that we appreciate. Yeah. And it's an honor to have you here, especially unplanned, because it makes it more authentic.
It does.
Now, Sheba had time to plan this time. You know, the last couple of ones we didn't plan. So let's go ahead and kick into it. Jealousy, the topic jealousy. First off, let's do like this. This is something that I would like to do with topics. Whenever we choose a topic, what I would like to do is start with just basic definitions.
I have that in my cards, but
let's do this. Etymology of what's the word?
Of the word jealousy.
Of jealousy.
I have it.
No, excuse me. No, that's the definition. Okay, go ahead. We'll do the definition. That's fine.
Okay, y'all. This is also an educational space, a free-thinking, open-minded educational space.
Indeed.
And as critical thinkers and as creative people, we have the capacity and the right to be able to establish the conversation however we'd like. And Quick intuitively said that we should start with the definition, and I also agree. Because this is the learning space and we're learning together, and life is a series of lessons. In fact, one of our teachers went through recently a challenge, and she said, I went to class, and I love that. She said, I just took a class on this, and I'm in my second semester of this. And I loved that because she acknowledged the human experience as being about learning, growing, and just the capacity that we have to take ownership and agency over our lives by establishing and creating what it is that we want. So in this space and time, in this dimension, I also agree with you that we should start with the definition. And so I wrote down 3 definitions, and I just want to offer them to you, and then maybe we could start as a base point. So, celosa con su lengua venenosa, which is a very popular lyric in a rap song. Jealousy. Okay, number 1. Jealousy is typically defined as an emotional response to the threat of losing, so a loss, a valued relationship to a rival. That's a very limited definition, but it is one. So that's 1. Typically defined as an emotional response to the threat of losing a valued relationship to a rival. I'm going to give you 2 more. This one I like, the one coming up. an unpleasant emotion, I can agree, that arises when a person perceives that an important aspect of one's relationship with another, or this is more broad, a relationship to oneself, is being threatened. An unpleasant emotion that arises when one perceives that an important aspect of one's relationship with another or the relationship to oneself is being threatened. The third one is more like descriptive to those main two. Jealousy is actually, this is from the School of Psychology, a journal of psychology. It's actually not defined as a primary human emotion.
I can see that.
Such as fear, joy, and sadness, which are defined as primary human emotions, fear, joy, and sadness. Jealousy is not defined as a primary human emotion, such as fear, joy, and sadness, but it reflects a vital emotional process that is still clinically and socially relevant to psychologists who are experts in human behavior. So.
Wow.
Well, I have some thoughts.
Yes.
Off the rip.
Yeah.
It was interesting to me that the first two definitions were real specific to, like loss of something. Because I think when I think of jealousy, I think of like even people who are jealous of superstars.
Yeah.
Who could take nothing from you, but it's almost like it's definitely ego-driven jealousy, and ego not in a way like I'm so boisterous and great, but the ego that says you're not enough.
I'm insecure.
And insecurity.
Threat.
It seems like you must be insecure or have a false idea of possessiveness or value or quality being based on having things or presentation of a certain level of status, because even that's all false and fake anyway. So it was interesting that they didn't really touch in the definition on anything outside of like losing something you have. You know what I mean? Because it seems like it's more than that. You see people like get jealous because they feel like they're not solid in themselves.
Yes.
So like the people who gossip about
Oh God.
someone they don't even know, or someone on TV or
so
someone
over
like
that shit. Oh, and I've been that person.
I can't see that.
Not gossiping, but like I have my own experiences with jealousy that I want to share with the audience. But so much of what you just said resonated with me.
Okay.
Baby, did you have something to say?
I always have something to say, especially on these topics.
Baby, what would you like to say?
I feel like, first of all, I just want to ask anybody real quick, when's the last time you've been jealous?
Me last week.
Think of a time that you've been jealous, and think of not who you were jealous of, but why you were jealous of that person. Was it something in our world that we were not doing up to our best potential to allow us to be jealous of this person? And so I just want people to think of that, because I know that right now there's somebody's going to watch this as soon as it's done, and they're going to go, oh yeah, I'm not jealous, I'm not jealous, I'm not jealous. But they probably this week, this month, this year, at some point in time, were jealous about something that they were not doing, that they saw another human doing. Whether it be in their job, whether it be in their relationship, or whether it just be in the way that they live their life, And so it's very easy, to catch feelings and create concepts in the mind of you thinking that someone else that's potentially reaching the goals or doing the things that you want to do is less qualified or deserving of the things that it is that you feel deserving of, but are not working for. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And so I just want people to reflect on that and just take that into consideration and say, oh man, maybe I was hating on this person because they're where I want to be.
Because I'm disappointed in my own self, because I'm underperforming, and which usually has to do with not valuing your talent or your gifts that you've been given and not working on them. Because sometimes you may have a talent or a gift, but if you don't work on it, then it's not really going to be developed and come out to the extent that you want.
What about this? What about this? What if the person in their concept, in their mind, they think that they are doing, or that they need to do, or that they can do, and just not cutting it, and then they're seeing people around them like, hey, I'm at work and I show up early, I work harder than everybody, and these other people unethically keep moving up before me. I'm jealous because
it's not fair.
It's not fair.
Life isn't fair.
But that's not a good enough answer.
Well, you know
like,
what it makes me think of too, as you both are speaking, like creative potential, and in regards to how we create our life. And everybody's vantage starting point is different. So a person in poverty who dreams of living a certain lavish lifestyle has a different starting point than a person coming from a family that's wealthy, that has already set aside money and land and property for them. So the starting point is often linked to like our spiritual growth process.
Wow.
So, you know, whatever you're going to exercise to get to even your desire is implanted, I feel, either socially or spiritually. Either it's coming from a divine source in your heart, or it's coming from seeing things in the outside world and creating false relationships between quality of life and those things that you're seeing. One of those two things are usually like driving your aspirations. And if you have to work harder for it, it can seem like, oh, it's drudgery, it's so hard. But what you cultivate as a being in doing that work is much more valuable than what the person who has it handed to them. They're not gifted with the growth. And so a lot of it is perspective based.
Yes.
And with that, I also thought, as you were speaking about like how all things are one. So when we see
okay, you say that? Can you tell them again?
So when we see someone living things that we aspire towards, that can possibly inspire us. Like my family here just had a great blessing and a goal that we share. And I'm so inspired and excited, and I feel it in me like it's almost a sign, it is a sign of what is coming down the line for all of us. To see my family succeed, I feel it as a success. I'm like filled with that in the same way. And it's easy for us to feel oneness because we're close. But to feel oneness with someone far from you, to feel oneness with someone who you may not even like or enjoy being around or admire, to feel that sense of oneness, to understand that their progress is your progress, their achievements, where there isn't really a disconnect.
It's possible.
It's possible, and it's, I don't know, it's already like part of a whole oneness. So it speaks to not what you can't do or what you don't have, but what you can do and what you do have access to. So perspective. That's big.
So one of the self-help books, you guys know I'm really into self-helpy stuff. So self-helpy person. So one of my mentors, I call them mentors, but in my mind, their mentors are like books that I read are my mentors.
Nice.
Or like,
the authors of people.
Yeah. And so one of them says that you will allow yourself to open up to the gates of treasure and wealth when you delight in the riches and the success of others. And that's true. When you can delight in the riches and the wealth and the success of others, then you're open to also, doing that for yourself. So that,
What book is that?
I don't remember. It's by
so much.
I know. Okay, so I have one on neurolinguistic programming. That talks about just our ability to program ourselves through words, which I would recommend on Amazon. I'll put the link below. And then also just different audiobooks, like one's by Les Brown, where he talks about delighting in the riches of others. And then, of course, Think and Grow Rich, which is a very foundational text. So we talk a lot about subconscious programming and perception and the mind. And I wanted to offer this to the conversation. I'm definitely going to play back what you said, and I'm going to post it on our Instagram, because what you said and what Quic said, they're so heavy and they're so rich. There's so much to be gained from it. There's like a lot of fruit. You just gave a lot of fruit to the audience, as did Quic. So we're going to put these down in little categories on our Instagram.
She's good at this. I just let it go.
Definitely we'll do that, because you're saying you guys are both staying alone. You're offering so much. And when it comes to perception, I had a similar thought. What I wrote down is the primary key word for me in this definition of jealousy was threat and perception. So perceived loss. In the tarot, they teach you that basic foundational tarot is when you do like the 7-card spread, as an example, the middle card, 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4th card is how the person asking the question perceives themselves. But they always tell the reader, take caution, because you don't know if this person is an accurate reporter of what's going on. And their perception will create their reality. They may be perceiving themselves as a victim, and that may not actually necessarily be the case. So, and they tell you this in teaching as well. When a child or a student is speaking to you, to understand they're communicating through their childhood mind, always, of course, give them validity and respect and honor and understand what it is that they're trying to say. But their world is not expansive. So open up, you know. So when it comes to yourself, open up your world to challenge your perception. How are you perceiving yourself? Because perception and jealousy and threat are very all closely tied. It's like a triangle. It's a triangle. So how are you perceiving yourself? What are you perceiving as a threat? Why are you feeling jealous? So it's that internal conversation about taking time to be still and self-reflect, and also laughing about it and being okay with it. Because as a Scorpio moon, I definitely experience jealousy all the time about all kinds of stuff, because I can be insecure, but I'm okay with it because I know how to nurture myself and take care of myself. But I definitely, like, especially me on my road to poetry and music and so on and so forth, I definitely have had to have this mantra to myself, which is that I do not put other people down. I do not put other people's art forms down as a way to legitimize my talent or feel more worthy. I am worthy because I'm worthy, and I'm talented because I've been gifted, and I'm grateful for the gift.
Right.
But I have to check myself often. You know what I mean? Especially as I'm developing and growing and being in new spaces. I think it's as an artist who's still developing, when I walk into a room, it could be just my psychology that is insecure and that I have to nurture. But like when you see this artist do this thing and this artist do this thing, you're like, oh my God,
can we talk about that though? Can we talk about some scenarios where people might be jealous and how we think that can be, how we can self-assess and register that as jealousy and identify it as jealousy? Because sometimes I think people are in denial of jealousy because they think that they're not haters, when often
you don't have to be a hater to be jealous.
But often it's kind of like, there's a thin line between jealousy and envy, right?
Yeah. And it's a thin line between jealousy and admiration. I think even like clarifying, like I think if there's a tinge of insecurity in a person, which everybody has some type somewhere, admiration can get muddled with that insecurity and show up as jealousy. But it might really be admiration and insecurity in each one.
I feel like that is envy. I feel like someone that loves you so much that they want to be you, and they wish that,
like psychopath.
But that's what fans are. A lot of fans are fanatical because they just admire your work ethic. They admire the lifestyle you have. They admire the cars that you have. That they love you and what you represent much that if they had the moment to kick you down the stairs and just pretend to be you, you know, for 2 seconds, like they might do it. They might just be like, don't mind, like, oh man, I've been waiting to be in this position my whole life. And they might
but you didn't want to work for it.
Well, I mean, not always. Sometimes the best people, you know, in whatever field, come from those chasing the heels of great people, you know, and the people behind them want to be them so bad that they outwork them, you know. Now the culture and the ethics and all that may not be there, but the person that wanted to be you so bad will soon surpass you if they outwork you, you know. And if you're in the way, that jealousy could be dangerous, you know, because that jealousy could be turned into envy, because then once they get to that level, they see you as a threat. Whereas someone who's just naturally jealous might be like, she ain't. Yeah, they might see you and be like, oh, she ain't cute. No, you just hate because you're insecure. Right. You know, whereas someone that's envious might see you and be like, she is everything. And I want that. I want her life.
I think jealousy is a perceived. Jealousy is a perceived loss, and envy is wanting what they have. Right?
It's a hunger.
Yeah, envy is like, I want what you have, but jealousy is like, I feel threatened by a perceived loss. Something in you or in the situation is triggering me to feel threatened because I perceive. Perception creates reality, and may not be the case. but your perception is creating your reality.
Like
because
a sense of lack.
I perceive
Right.
a lack.
Right.
I perceive a lack. And I wanted to talk about, guide this conversation a little bit and talk about situations, if you consider situations. But in addition to that, I wanted to open up the conversation about different contexts, because jealousy has different contexts and can show up in different ways.
Right.
But before I say that, I wanted to say that in a book I read, which is I'm not like with these books, but in a book I read about ¿cómo se llama? The one that I've been reading about the artistry.
The artist way.
The artist way.
Yeah, the artist way. They said anger is a roadmap that shows us that our boundaries have been violated. I thought that was so profound.
That's interesting.
Anger is a roadmap that shows us that our boundaries have been violated, either by ourselves, maybe we're angry with ourselves, or disappointed, we're regretful. And I said, well, I'm going to use that sentence structure for jealousy, but change it a little bit. So as we enter this conversation about context, I think this is applicable. Jealousy is a roadmap that shows us what we perceive we are missing.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah, jealousy is a roadmap that shows us what we perceive we are missing. So it's a teacher and it's a healer.
Well, it does seem like a misuse of energy, similar to how worry can be. Like when they say, like, why worry when you can pray? Like prayer.
Oh, I'm
like,
the borderline of that.
I'm gonna draw this to me. I'm asking. And worry is like, oh my God, I don't have it. What's wrong?
I'm the type of person that can I can literally build a kingdom and be concerned if the door on the castle is going to be locked. Like the smallest thing. Like I will think bigger than big. I will create all this magic, bring it into my world, bring it into my reality, and then worry about, is the door going to lock? And it's like the smallest little thing. And it will beat me, and she'll have to tell me, just pray, just focus, just pray, just focus, just pray, just focus.
It's
Stay
nervousness.
It's nervousness. And sometimes I agree, it is misplaced. And
creative energy.
And it's misplaced for me.
It's creative energy. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Because it does
Right.
create, and I think jealousy can maybe put a block in what you want because it's a distraction.
It's a complete
waste time. Like
it doesn't feel good.
So how do we deal with it? How do we deal? Let's say like this. I think
Well, I
when
want to
people
talk about context, and then I want to talk about solutions. So
okay, so that's what I think I was going to get into. Like
context and solutions.
I was going to say, can we start with the basic thing that most people think of when they think of jealousy?
My man is out texting somebody else or giving attention to somebody else, and this makes me feel insecure.
No, they don't say it makes you insecure.
No,
The first thing they do
F that person.
is
F
blame.
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 Yeah.
And that's a whole nother topic I wanted to talk about. So let's keep it light on the blaming.
Which is
talk.
also a distraction.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Because blaming is actually one of our next
We won't
next
talk
thing.
about it too much today.
So
Yeah.
sorry, but because it's deep. Blaming goes deep. It goes deep. But
Landing with your hand.
so how do we?
Context, quick. Can you please tell us of a time where you felt jealous? What was going on? Was it justified? Are there situations sometimes where jealousy is justified?
Well, jealousy leads to me being angry, and I don't like the way it makes me feel. I feel like the Hulk, and my nerves get tight, this, that, and the third. So I would cause pain to myself, or sadness to myself.
Yeah.
Because I rather not take the time of being jealous if I felt that somebody.
Oh, we talked about this the other day.
Somebody like, let's say if I was in a relationship with someone in the past, right? And
yes, in the past.
And they were they were
in the past.
look, they were swinging through the jungle of opportunity, right? And meeting all these different energies, and sometimes people are naive, they don't see how people are courting them or tricking them or planning for them to fall into a trap, and I'll see it and I acknowledge it, and if it's not mutually understood or respected, like, hey, you're walking in this trap of energy, and I see it, and I'm not a fan of it. And they're like, oh, it's not like that, and I see it, and then it starts to become something, or is in its way is becoming something, versus me being angry and or blaming that individual. I would just sit like this. I'd be like this.
I just observe.
And I'll observe, and I won't get jealous because it throws up the flares. And sometimes people are on their best behavior when they feel like they're being judged. I want people to be on their best behavior when they're not being judged. So if you feel like you're not being judged and you're moving in a certain way that is not honest or loyal or authentic to what we said we were doing as a team, I watch it and then
make your decision.
And then I made my decision. And no, she doesn't have to cheat. She doesn't. I just see it, and I say, okay, well, this is not how I'm walking in life. And so, regardless of what we've had, regardless of where you thought it was going, regardless of how long it's been, or what you didn't do, we're not moving in the same direction on the same vibration. And I cut my ties, and I will end up heartbroken because I feel like I put so much energy and time. But I'd rather.
But you cut your losses.
But I cut my losses, so I learned how to detach from people to the point where we're not gonna mention what I said earlier, about memory and stuff like that. But like, I cut my touches and I detach, and it's like you would think that I've never met that person in the past because I just totally detached, and the reason being is I have
strong boundaries.
Very strong boundaries.
It's great to be around.
And I have.
You with me? No.
Yep, right. And I have a very, very short tolerance for those boundaries being disrespected.
It's good.
And so, in my way of doing that and communicating those feelings that could be taken as jealousy would have to do with me thinking that someone was taken from me. Yeah. But I was like, well, you don't have to take her. You can have her because I'm not walking in that direction. I can't have her.
It doesn't suit me.
It doesn't suit me. She's making too many U-turns and yielding to the left. I'm gonna go on a straight line.
It don't even meet your standards.
So at that point, no matter how much my heart, my emotions, my sensuality was attached to the individual, I had to just cut my ties. And
so you can wind up right here.
It's gotten to right. Yeah, I wonder, right? But I've even cut my ties. Look, I've even cut my ties in my mind, and then they break up with me. And it was like, hold up, did you hear me? And it's like, did you hear what I was thinking? How did you know? And then I get even more offended. I was like, oh man, like what did I do wrong? Hold up, did I do something wrong? Because I was just thinking about, but I really didn't have to deal with the jealousy because my thing is, we accept people how they come, we respect them for what they are, and from there we can start to learn to love each other. But if I can't accept you how you come, the good, bad, and the ugly, then I can't respect you. So accepting is respecting, and respecting is loving is accepting, and accepting is respecting, and respecting is accepting. It's all the same thing. And so for me, that jealousy isn't really my thing. My number one thing, which some people might perceive it as jealousy, is what?
I don't know, baby.
Being what? I'm very what? Come on.
Emotional?
I am emotional. I'm very protective.
Yeah.
Oh, he's very protective. Oh, we talked about this. No,
but some people see
misinterpreted.
Yeah.
I just talked to Quick about this the other day. We were in bed, and I had my head on his chest, and we were just talking, and we were talking about jealousy, and I said, you know what, baby, I never, because we're very connected, and I thank God for this connection. I said, I've never perceived you as jealous. I perceived you as protective. Because you have to trust who you're with. He has access to a certain level of wisdom that I do not, and I have access to a certain level of wisdom that he does not, and we come to one another and we have to trust. And so I always know he's going to want the best. He's done a lot of work on himself. So I know that anything he says, he wants the best for not just me, but for us. And he's not selfish. So there's that too, that you want to be able to trust your partner. And I said, I've never perceived you as jealous. But also, in my giving myself credit, I haven't given you a reason to be jealous. Or I've tried my best. I've tried my best, because we're always growing, not to give him a reason to be jealous, because I respect myself, I respect our monogamous agreement, and I also have good boundaries, and I also feel like no one else should have access to me like he does, which is why because he's earned a certain level of access to me, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically. So because of that, and we've learned that over time, the importance of not just, and we're both givers, not just giving access to everybody, because people will misperceive that.
Right.
So I've never perceived him as jealous. I do struggle with jealousy though. I embrace it.
How does it look? Because I don't see
Yeah,
that in
I
my
have struggled with
Give an
jealousy.
example.
Sure. I've struggled with jealousy. So jealousy for me is it's a Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio moon. For those of you who watch my astrology videos, you know that the lower human vibration of the Scorpio moon is vindictive. It's jealous. It's envious, and it can be sort of like dark, right? So I embrace those things, and because I embrace them, I can control it.
Mm-hmm.
So, as an example, I will say that jealousy has been a really great teacher to me and a really great roadmap, and I've had very, very, very valid, legitimate reasons to feel those feelings. Like all of your feelings, they're always valid. You have to embrace them and accept them. Although psychologists who are experts in human emotion and dedicate their professional lives to understanding, human behavior, they do not identify jealousy as a primary human emotion such as fear, sadness, and joy. It's primary for me because my psychology is a Scorpio moon. So I'm able to identify it and transmute it. Mm-hmm. So I'll give an example. I've had very, very emotionally intense relationships because I'm emotionally an intense person. They've been wonderful teachers to me. Yes, I've been jealous of some of my exes were texting other people. Because you know what, they were also sleeping with other people and violating the boundaries of our agreements of monogamy. So I've had very valid reasons to feel jealous. It doesn't feel good, especially when I let it fester, which I used to in the past. But I mean, it was a great signal for me. I'm like, oh, I feel jealous for these reasons, or I feel insecure for these reasons. Yes, I have legitimate, valid reasons to feel insecure because I feel like, again, jealousy being a roadmap to what I perceive that I'm missing. You're over there giving all your attention to this other person, and you're not nurturing and feeding me, which is part of like what we said we were going to do in this dynamic. So that's.
I have to question.
Yeah.
So when I hear that, knowing your history.
Yeah.
I don't even know if those stories have sounded like jealousy as much as they sound like intolerance or even possibly anger for boundaries crossed. Because there's clear boundaries crossed, which is not like, I want what someone else has, because you don't want to be the side chick either. No. You know what I mean? So you don't want what they have. And I think jealousy kind of, in that first definition, indicates there's something that I'm losing. But it's saying, I'm not satisfied, I'm not fulfilled, I'm aware that I'm in something that does not serve my highest vibration, not even values or...
Yeah, that's not jealousy, that's the right to feel like offended.
I feel like I felt
like hell no, this is unacceptable, I don't get down, I ain't dealing with you like that, I don't get down like that.
Yeah, I felt violated.
I think jealousy would be like, for you would be more so like, when she was getting to know me.
Oh, I remember that time.
There's a couple of times. Go ahead.
When you're dancing with somebody?
Yes.
So that sounds relevant.
That sounds.
If there's
like,
she didn't know
how.
I love him.
Oh
I don't know if I'm gonna lose him in this situation.
I went into that like I was just so mad when I hit something like I just was so didn't know what to do, but it's fine. I told him, he's like, oh, you should dance salsa with me, and I was like, no, it's fine. Like I don't even, identify as a salsera. So 6 years later, it's been so amazing for our relationship. But I didn't know the magnitude of his art form and his acting capabilities. So when he was dancing with somebody, he said, I need you to be my salsa partner because, with salsa, it's very intimate. And I was like, no, it's fine. Like, you're a professional. I get it. Like, totally respect the art form. You know what I mean?
I'm good.
Right? Yeah. And I saw him on that floor, and as soon as that woman kicked her leg above his head, and he was like smiling, like, you know what I mean? Enjoying all of that, I was like, oh no! And I was like, oh, no lo puedo creer.
And that girl was dancing salsa right away, wasn't she?
Oh my God, and I said, oh, hold on.
She was like, I got this.
But it was so funny because the joke was on me. That woman was an amazing professional as well, and her husband and her children were at the performance, and
cheering.
I didn't know. And I didn't know.
Cheering for us as
but it was awesome because it let you know, it taught you something. Like about.
I was like, oh, I don't like that. I was like, oh, I'm not jealous, but it's because again, he does such a good job of not giving me a reason.
Plus, in the beginning of a relationship, trust is still being established.
Right.
Your trust is so well established now, you know.
Right.
Not how everyone else around him is going to act, because there's always going to be predators in every situation, every relationship, but how he's going to behave and where his heart is and what he's going to choose to do. So you don't have to feel that anymore, but that was early on in your relationship.
Yeah, it was early.
So you didn't know, because y'all hadn't developed that, like what that meant, what that body
And for me, it was like, I think where I could have become jealous was more so like in moments where other people could perceive her as vulnerable, fast, available, open, free flowing, whatever.
Was your protector.
And so that was me like saying, oh, well, no. Like these are the bodies, these are the signs of other people wanting to be in a certain radius or proximity of your essence
for the wrong
reason. This is what it means when someone tries to befriend you to see if they can create a divide between us. If you get so caught up in that conversation where your shoulder turns while I'm standing there, like if anything, you see how I'm at a corner because I wouldn't turn my back to have a conversation. People.
Wait, turn your back again? So when you do that, I'm just like this.
She gonna bridge
I'm
the
like
connection.
But
I'm like,
but people will put themselves in positions to create a divide between you.
Right. And because I'm not like that, I'd be like, no, why would somebody ever do something like that? That is so horrible.
She's seen it time and time again.
Now I see it.
And so the thing is to acknowledge those situations. So yeah, I might get heated because I have a very short fuse. But I whether I blow up now, by the end of the night, I'm going to tell you why I feel this way, what it means in body language, what I feel the person's intent, whether they were conscious or non-conscious. Most of the time they're aware. Sometimes they're not aware. They just get so caught up in wanting to be in the essence of someone that has a certain vibe. Sometimes people have a vibe and they're like, oh my God, I just want to suck your energy and I just want to I want to suck up all your energy. And it's like, did you just say that?
And it ends up being really,
say that out loud?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Girl, I just want to suck up your energy and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yo.
I'm like,
yo,
I'm sure they do. I'm like,
yeah, I noticed that dialogue between y'all a lot. Like just
I'm sure they do.
the vantage point. I see you often like standing from a distance.
He's
observing,
like my shadow,
And then Shebah being so open and loving, although she's a fierce warrior for sure. When she's in that open and loving space, I've heard and benefited from so many of the dialogues of you sharing that from that vantage point. Like, are you watching?
Yeah.
What's actually taking place?
Right.
And that's a big deal. That's powerful for me to witness. I learned from that.
Oh my God, like that guy who came, we were at dinner. And we didn't even know him that well. We had just had the meeting, and he came and he sat right by me as I was eating my salad. And talked to me about everything. And Quic was sitting right by me. And Quic was like, "Yo, he straight up took up all of our time." Like,
but then you fell into it.
I know, because I was like,
she was like, "Oh, conversation." Mind you, there's 5 people having a conversation.
You're all at the table.
And this guy is like 70 years old. He wasn't dominating. Oh, okay. He was just able to.
Right here.
And she didn't want to talk to him.
Yeah.
And he still sat there. And the way he positioned his body made her position her body. And as soon as she positioned her body to talk to him, it cut everybody at the table off. And they started 2 conversations. And I had to hit her on the heel.
He's like, hey.
And she's like, why are you hitting my heel? What's going on? And I was just like, okay, well, you're 2 seconds from embarrassing. Like, if you want me to tell you, I'm going to embarrass everybody here. Because I'm going to put him on blast in front of his comrades. And so, I'm tapping your heel to let you know, like, come back. Yeah. Come back, because this is a social cipher.
It seems like what you guys are talking about is like one of the powers that can transmute jealousy.
Right.
Which is communication.
Communication.
Oh, yeah.
So you're like giving all these examples of just straightforward, hey, like, this is what I see.
Yeah.
We need to talk about
You can void a lot of jealousy.
If you just stay in your head, if you would have stayed in your head with all those different things.
I would have been furious.
Right, you go crazy. But being safe to communicate and her being receptive, like you guys being receptive, it makes room for, because if you were to communicate and you were like, you're just jealous, you're just talking, it wouldn't have been effective
Well, that's
either.
dismissive. I've learned
But
over time not to be dismissive.
Right.
Yeah, because that's very rude.
What about this same
And
situation?
you don't grow that way.
No. What were you saying?
No. What about at work? Jealousy of somebody who's moving up the chain, or at work, or jealousy of a family member.
Well, I have one in particular that's more
yeah.
dominant in my life.
Okay.
So in my family dynamic, my partner travels. When we met, we were both travelers. I spent 9 months of every year out of the country. I loved traveling.
9 months?
Yeah, it was just how I did. And so
we
that
did 3.
was part of where I was
it.
like, I see myself in this person, this free bird type of behavior. When we have kids,
you want to travel too?
somebody got to be stable. And I never saw that part. I never would have known that
feeling.
Choosing someone who had that similar quality would
open up,
cause me to be bound to stillness. I mean, if we were rich, I could do whatever, but cause me economically. Cause me to be like still. And so I've definitely, absolutely, and I'm also a Scorpio moon, so I have very intense feelings about,
and it's okay.
And I think in part because it's at my at my expense. So there's like this, you do this because for you to do this, I must do this thing that I don't enjoy as much, or where I feel, kind of suffocated in this like home. Atlanta. I love Atlanta if I can leave it and come back.
But every mother bird has to have a nest. The only difference between humans and birds is birds only take a few days to a few weeks to kick the baby out the nest and let them fly. Or humans, it takes a little bit more time.
And a bird fly away every day and come back to the nest. So it's all good. I think that's part of what I was thinking of when I was saying like, it's similar to the vantage point between a rich person and a person who doesn't come from a family of wealth. Like, I have seen myself be distracted in that jealousy. Where it doesn't use my creative power properly. Because despite my position as mother, and I choose to be present, it's a choice. I could make a choice to do anything with my kids. I choose to be as present as possible. And in that choice, it creates it requires more creative focus towards what do you want, how can you get it. Don't get caught up worrying about, I have to constantly pull my mind over
get distracted
here.
from that. Because you guys, I don't understand if you know, like God, with the Scorpio moon energy, it's a very specific psychology. It's very specific, and there's so many lessons and like so many lessons of transformation and transmutation, and like the way we feel is so cute and it's so concentrated. And like the emotional drama, to us it's not drama, it's like a very real thing that we experience, and it's so easy to get caught up on the behaviors of other people, but that's reactive versus being proactive, which is focusing on our creative power, our self-education, our skills, and our attitude.
Or in taking, even with our own emotions, I feel like, and I'm not sure if it's specific to the Scorpio moon or other factors, but I'm very similar. We're both Leos with Scorpio moon, so we're very similar. And everything we feel is so strong. So understand that feelings are really messengers. They're not really like paths to take forever down the rabbit hole. They're just to deliver you a concept so you can make a choice about the direction you want to go. Not just fall into the endless emotion. And in Scorpio moon, sometimes we just revel in any emotion, whether it's passion or pleasure or anger. It's powerful.
Yeah, it is very
so we feel all the surge of that, and I have to grab the reins of my thought process and be accountable, because I also celebrate that my partner lives this fully. So that's that thing of like, hey, like this is good. It's just now I need these things manifest so that in my different way with the children, because I also don't want to leave. I wouldn't want what he has. So it's not jealousy in the sense of I wouldn't want to, and he doesn't want to leave the children either. I wouldn't do it. Even if I had the opportunity.
I think it's for you, it's kind of like there's different wind beneath your wings right now. And right now, you have children underneath your wings. You know what I mean? And so you have to just operate and fly in a different type of. A bird flies different when it's solo the wind blows and it goes. You know, but when a bird is flying in a flock, someone has to be the lead. There's order. They have to be in formation. Sometimes one fall back, so that next one comes here. Sometimes you put the youngin in the front so they can lead. Sometimes, you know, whatever it is, there's always formation. And so right now, I think that you've been doing an excellent job.
That's a good perspective.
You've been doing an excellent job with formation. Yeah, the winds may create turbulence you're not used to, but from the outside, it looks good. And so know that, one, these babies are not going to be babies for much longer.
I know. That's why.
So the important thing, especially for women, the important thing, because men mature a little slower, tend to, not all men, but a little slower in the brain.
In general.
You know, in general, just based on how society is set up for them.
Yeah.
And so, whereas women mature naturally a lot faster based on the natural skills of nurturing, the natural
and
ability to be able
we
to
have
see.
the capacity to give life, so we
Right.
have to be.
We have to. Yeah.
So, but what I would say like this is, do not allow your situations to stop you from being who you are, who you were, who you are, who you're going to be, who you're growing to be. And so you have, you less than a dozen years, less than 10 years, and your babies are going to be, because they're so independent and ready, they're going to be gone.
Yeah.
Traveling the world too.
Yeah.
Keep doing your yoga, keep your health. Your health is great, your yoga is great. Stay young and prepare, so when you go on this journey again, you have the experience of flying with a tribe, you have the experience of flying solo, and now you're so well prepared for the world that no matter what the world brings you, you can enjoy it in a way that you couldn't have as an individual. You know what it is. Yeah.
That's true. I feel like it's a great exercise for me. It's a difficult one because I have to master myself in a way I didn't ever have to before.
Right.
Because I never had challenges like this before. I was always very self-oriented before I had children, very free. I didn't work for other people or obligate myself in any ways. I wasn't committed to anything. And then all of a sudden I'm like 100% committed. But the exercise to me is like, manifest, like I want to travel with my kids. I have kids who benefit and who are, it's what I want for all of us to whatever extent and whatever ways, because like my oldest is specific. He's like, if we go, we need to stay. I don't want to be going for no 1 week. I want to settle down and be still in this place. So listening to everyone's needs and finding a path that can,
until he travels enough places, then he's gonna realize that
he'll find his
you're gonna have to keep moving before you settle down, because every place you go, you're gonna fall in love. Like I
like the way you said that.
He was a fan of Japan, to an extent.
But when we got there, I think it was he was correct. He told me years before, Mommy, all this, we road trip a lot. All this road tripping is cool, but in and out these hotels every other day. Like, I want to go to Jamaica, stay in Jamaica for 3 months, put my shoes down, take my clothes out my bag, and be present. And I respect that. Because I tell him, look, I'm your mama, you done chose me.
That's
and
his
I
space.
like to fly. So you're going to have to, I'm not waiting until you're 20. You're going to have to come. What do you need it to be? And he was able to tell me. So I think my creative challenge, their father has a gift that requires his movement,
Right.
For me, my current interest or primary focus by choice is cultivating our family, my children. So, and still being all the things that I am as an artist and a woman, but it calls me to manifest for myself something I've never done before, which is how to even economically and magnetically create opportunities and fly with these 3 other birds in my wings.
So what about this? Has there ever been someone that's really successful, whether they're rich or not, that you've found like a little bit of jealousy, like, oh, I wish I could just do that, or I wish I was already. I'm going to do that, but I wish I was living that life right now.
Not so much. I feel like when I see that, what I get is those people show up for me more as like dope motivation.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
for real. That's the inspiration where it's like, that's instantly transmuted. I never even feel it as jealousy. It's like, that's the window that says you can do this.
Yeah.
And let me actually ask you how you did it. And
Yeah.
I might reach out to you
Yeah.
even if you're a stranger
Yeah.
to take notes
Yeah.
because I
It's
want to
exciting.
learn. I don't, if
Because
I don't
it's
ask,
Because it's exciting, right?
It
So
is.
I've recently, in my maturity of transmuting my jealousy, and I want to get to one other topic before we round out this conversation. What is it?
It's
7 minutes.
Yeah.
But I would, and in addition to, I would also like to say,
I want to get some solutions.
I have
Some
that's-
opinionated solutions for identifying your jealousy and then maybe dealing with jealousy from other people.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's
a
interesting.
big
But,
So-
go ahead, you first. So,
Yeah,
because we're gonna wrap it up. Because
Yeah,
normally we
we're
do
gonna-
45 minutes, but we said we'll give ourselves an hour whenever we have guests.
So one thing that I wanted to say is I also share now in your excitement. That took a level of maturity for me. So I used to feel envious or jealous or why does this person have this? But because I was struggling with my own level of regret for not setting goals and meeting them, knowing that I could, and feeling disappointed in myself.
Mm-hmm.
So now I realize that if I am jealous, it's because I'm disappointed in myself because I know I'm powerful and that I have the ability within myself to achieve my goals, and I need to set them so that I don't experience those feelings of jealousy because underneath I regret and disappointment for not following through. So that's that level of understanding and self-awareness. Now when I see other people, like people who are poets, who are singing, who are contributing to the community or the industry on that level, I think, oh my God, that's so dope, it's possible. And especially if she's Latina, I'm like, oh my God, it's possible. Look how dope she is. Look, she's doing it.
You see yourself in her.
I can do it too. Now I'm there where I'm like, oh God, that's so cool. I'm so
Because you're
excited
doing
for
the
her.
work.
I'm so excited for her. Wow, look
think
at this
that's
concept because I'm doing the work.
You're doing
So I'm
it.
not
So if you're not
disappointed
disappointed, if you're working and you see somebody doing something or
Yes.
having something that you aspire to have, it becomes like, oh man, I can do it too. I know.
Strengthens you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it lights that
possible.
fire. It lights that fire.
My perception has changed now again.
What if
I'm not
it's-
threatened because my perception of myself has changed.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'm like,
you
it's
know
possible.
you're on that path. You're
It's
like, I see you,
possible.
we're on the same path.
Yeah,
I see you.
and I
love
see
it.
your work.
And I see my future.
Yeah.
Like I'm going towards, that's exactly where I'm going.
I can do it. Yeah, I can do it.
So how can we help? How can we help people with acknowledging one that you might be jealous of something, someone?
I would say ask yourself, I think when they have a moment of jealousy, they ask yourself questions.
Yeah.
Some of those questions are, what do I want? What is it that I see that I want?
Right.
And then the next question would be like, how would that look for me specifically? Which is different than how it might look for the person you're stimulated by, jealous of. Because you achieving, whether it's a musical career or an aesthetic or financial goal, you would show up different on you. So get real clear about like, what would this look like for me if I were to achieve it? And then I think like really intentionally transmuting that, acknowledging the admiration of what you're seeing and fitting it to yourself, who you are, because you're different. So it's going to look different, it's going to feel different, it's going to show up different. And then what steps, just like any other goal setting, what steps can I take that I will most enjoy, that will fit where I am right now in my life? And what's my goal? What's my time frame? Basic, basic goal setting. And then every time you get a little stimulation, just transuse it. Like this is just stimuli.
Transuse it. That's
to
a
go.
big word for today. Is just transuse it or transmute it or transfer it. And so I think that is exactly how I feel. Is like if you're feeling jealousy, is maybe because you're at the bottom of the mountain and you've yet to start the journey that you should be climbing, and you haven't created the habits or the process to become what it is that you're becoming jealous of, or you feel like that someone that you have, just because you have someone in your relationship or in your world, doesn't mean that they're supposed to be there. So if they're acting in a certain way and they're moving in a way that's not what you represent,
jealousy.
right, then maybe it's just not a good match. Every good sex does not mean good man. You know what I mean?
Thank
Good,
you.
good.
Thank
You know,
That's real.
good image and good
real.
connection doesn't mean relationship goals because you both go to the same gym and look good together. You know, if people do not walk the same walk, you don't have the same agreements. You know, you can outgrow each other. Sometimes you have to go like this. As long as you're walking the same direction, you might mature. 15 years later, boom, back together. Whatever it is, everybody is different. So just acknowledge your own habits, your own processes, like Rajani was saying,
And
and
choose people who bring out the best in you. Is
And
what I
best
hear
in
you
you.
saying. Like
Right.
acknowledge if someone's like triggering
right.
negative response. It may not always be for us to fix ourselves.
Yeah.
But
So-
sometimes you have to move yourself.
Mm.
You know.
Can we
sometimes
say hi
you
to
just gotta-
Jasmine?
Yeah.
Hi, Jasmine.
Hi, Jasmine. Thanks for tuning in, girl. I would love to hear you guys' perspective on dealing with the jealousy of other people. I deal with this often. Oh, other people being jealous of you?
Yes.
You said
It's
you
because
were
you're
just-
fabulous, honey. Sorry, I deal with that a lot. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know that I do, actually.
Well, you deal with a lot of energy, but the
I
thing
deal with
is,
energy,
you,
okay.
you
so,
go ahead. She kills it with
Alright,
kindness.
so self-analysis. Hey, mama. So it seems that from what I got from Rajnia's wisdom and Quic's wisdom is they are guiding you to go through a process of self-analysis. That jealousy is a healer and potentially a teacher to you. It could be a potential healer and a potential teacher to you. Acknowledge your feelings and do some self-analysis so that you can transmute them and use it creatively for something productive.
But is she saying other people being jealous of her?
I believe so.
So that's the next. I just wanted to recap what you
Yeah,
said.
I believe so. I
Okay,
believe
so the next
she's
thing
speaking
is
of
like,
what.
what happens when other people are jealous of her because she deals with this a lot. So what?
Right. Well, I want to say
I
hi,
don't
Laura.
know how to do that.
So hi, Laura. We want to say hi to Laura. She just wanted a quick synopsis of what we're talking about. We're talking about jealousy. Today's topic's about jealousy. As you know, the lifestyle and love is a playlist on Sheba Saturn's channel that has to do with just
Self-growth. Yeah.
And so we want to acknowledge Jasmine's concern and question.
So Jasmine says she deals with the people feeling jealous of her often, and she's not really sure, or maybe she is sure, but she's looking for more tips. Like, what are any strategies or ideas and thought forms that we could offer to her in her path of healing and understanding how to protect herself from these people who are jealous? I don't know.
Oh, they openly expressed their jealousy of her.
Wow,
that's a lot.
Wow, that is a lot.
But you don't have to receive it.
It's better when it's open, I would think.
It's good. It's good to
let you can confront it. Maybe even like I don't know how to deal with it because it doesn't make sense to. I mean, I understand that what we're talking about, but when I see someone experience jealousy towards me, I can't understand it.
Well, I feel like I feel like that's
struggles.
envy because jealousy.
I know what to say.
Go ahead. Take it away.
You're powerful too.
That's it. That's what I was gonna say.
You're powerful too. You're great too.
Them to
so wonderful and so amazing.
Reaffirm them.
So wonderful. Reaffirm them. It's so wonderful and so amazing that you're opening up your own sight to see what you find beautiful in me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We're mirror reflecting each other.
We're reflecting one another. So thank you. I know that you can see beauty, and I know that you can see power, and I know that you can see strength and what inspiration. I know you know what it's like to be inspired. I'm just I could be X, Y, or Z. I'm a variable. I'm a figure. I'm a representation of what you find that you want in your life, and you can have the ability to translate it for yourself because you're powerful. So it's not about me.
Well, I'm a powerful person.
Yeah.
And
so
if you
I'm
get
an indication to you.
But see, I'm a powerful person,
You see yourself
and if they can make me feel uncomfortable, and say, well, wow, I'm a powerful person, and I don't feel good with knowing that you feel jealous of my situation or my being. And if you could make me feel uncomfortable around you, imagine if you use that power in a different way, how happy and comfortable I would be around you. If you use that energy in a way that made me feel happy, productive. Right. Maybe you feel you're undeserving of your own light, but you don't have to be jealous of me. What it is I think you're seeing a reflection of yourself in me, but in the forefront here, you know that you're not doing what it takes for you to be wherever I am.
Or wherever you perceive.
Wherever you perceive me to be. Because sometimes
people make us icons.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And it's not, they're not really
Wherever
seeing
you perceive
into
me
the
to
core
be, because
of who you are.
you don't know my hardships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because I don't crack a cry every day, I cry during like cartoons, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm not gonna cry about my hardships. I welcome my hardships. I challenge my hardships. I learn from my hardships. I'm grateful for my hardships because every time a storm hits me, it chisels me to a finer person, and I'm excited about that. You know what I mean? And so
I think humility, like I think there's this fine balance as you were speaking. I was thinking in the very beginning when the question came up, like humility there's this fine balance because humility is part of it, and then source. Like, what's the source of our power? What's the source of our beauty? What's the source of our wealth? And if people think the source comes from individuality, that's false. Because it comes from, no matter what your spiritual reference point or religious reference point is, clearly, like, divine creativity, inspiration is divine. It's coming through you from. So if you ground it and understand that we all have access to the same source of flow, then they're not looking out at other things. You can redirect that person back towards themselves. And that's why I think when a person is able to be articulate about it, it's easier because you can have a conversation. I think that humility is that
it's the sneaky ones you got to watch out for.
Where you say, like, you know, well, I'm like, hey, I'm just a person. You know, I go through my ups and downs like anyone else, but it rides that line because I have found myself over time, like, dumbing down my power or my femininity or my strength or just to make, and people talk about that all the time. There's all these quotes around, like, trying to make other people feel comfortable by making yourself smaller. And I've definitely done that. And I think there's that balance where you...
I mean, there's a time you can do it.
There's a way.
There's a way that you can do it. Like, when you're not becoming
smaller, you're just saying, hey, I'm just as human as you are.
Yes.
I have all the pros, the cons, the faults, the beauties. I'm on earth. So we're all growing. You know what I mean? There's we wouldn't even be here.
No person has made it. No person has made it. We're all making it. Living is an action. It's something that we're doing. We're living. It's always unfolding. And today, my mother used to say, my mother, you know, has a lot of things to say, as you know.
I love your mama.
But my mother says, today me, tomorrow you. You know, and so you know, it can be from extreme to extreme. You know, today me, tomorrow you. So if you see something in my world that you admire, no, you can't have my wife. No, you can't have my life. But you can have something.
Not for you. It's
right.
Well,
you can have something just right. You can have something just as incredible. You're deserving of it. Mine is mine. I earned this. I earned this reality.
And I noticed that with celebrity, even so celebrity like a Beyonce type celebrity, as well as, like, I have friends who have become, like, you know, social media celebrities. And I've observed, like, the dangers in like pedestaling yourself and being this model. Like, one thing I love about your lifestyle blog, it's so real. It's like, I'm a whole real person. But I have other friends who have, like, kind of, I understand all these things. You know,
it's posturing.
And that's a lot of pressure. And I think that breeds tons of jealousy that can turn into people trying to, I've seen people trying to sabotage them.
It breeds.
It breeds it.
It breeds. So what are we breeding?
What are you cultivating?
What are we cultivating? You know?
Where are you coming from?
Where are you coming from?
Jasmine says, I know my inner workings and it hurts me because I would rather connect. I understand.
That's so
oh, you're so sensitive.
That's so
you know
real,
your inner
too.
workings and it hurts you because you'd rather connect. You know what, baby girl, not everybody has the right intentions for you. You don't need to connect with everybody.
Right.
Good point.
And sometimes if it's family, it's hard when it's family though. Let's say that if they're in your church, if they're a family
you
member.
You need to psychically, and what I mean psychically, emotionally, psychologically detach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, emotionally detached.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Send them back to themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, in a positive, you know, like energetically, spiritually, prayerfully in your meditation. Send them back.
We did that with a friend recently. We had a friend, and the friend is, oh my God, so talented, so gifted, so warm-hearted.
Yeah.
But the thing was, we said, well, you know, like the vibration you're riding on right now is creating ripples that are not moving in the flow of the river. You know what I mean? And so it's splashing everywhere, and it's disrupting the flow of what we're trying to sell right now. We you know, we just finished learning how to swim. We just finished learning how to surf, and we're just now getting in the boat. So we're far from smooth sailing, but other people don't see it like that. It's like, so you can't let people turn your boat topsy-turvy. Sisters, brothers, friends, they feel entitled to you, and because they love you, they want to put all of their pain, insecurity on you.
And it's a distraction.
And it's a
and
distraction.
They are distracted.
They're distracting themselves.
And potentially, there's this form, if I could share, there's this form of meditation I learned at a Vipassana retreat. And Vipassana is, from what I understand, a branch of Buddhism.
Okay.
And so at this retreat, it's a silent 12-day retreat the first time you join. You meditate for, I think it's 8 to 12 hours a day.
Wow.
Whoa.
You do not communicate at all. You
Whoa.
you just meditate.
How do we do that, like, in today's world?
Well, what I want to share, though, from that is, like, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, me too. I know.
They have this one form of meditation called metta meditation. And it's a meditation that's all based around the heart and the giving of love daily. And in our practice, we did it twice a day. So in it, you choose 3 people. Someone you love and you know well, someone who you have animosity with, who you may not like. It could even be like a politician, no names. Or someone close to you. And then someone who you don't know, but maybe you saw them passing on the street asking for money. Or you see them every day. It's someone you don't know well, but you have a reason to send them. You see them in a need of love. And you take extended time to focus on each individual exclusively on that one person at a time and send them love straight from your heart to their heart with the vibration of healing, with the intent of it penetrating through them in a way beyond our understanding. So we're not manipulating with our mind, we're just sending the purity of love energy. And that could be a really good practice in your case, Jasmine, like when there's someone who you care about, who obviously is in need of understanding their value in themselves or their success of who they are from another perspective. They're looking out at you and feeling like they're less than in some kind of way. So that self-love, they're in need of that. And that's a possible way. I mean, you could take any spin on it that you want, but it's an action.
But I believe I believe that's real. Like, we're all sharing the same oxygen. We're all on this vibration. And if you walk into a room full of nonsense, you feel a certain type of way. If you walk into a room where people are just enjoying life, any celebration, then we start to feel good. This is the reason people go to clubs. This is the reason people go to church. This is the reason they go where the vibration that they're looking for. So I feel like that prayer twice a day, that prayer twice a day could penetrate that person in a positive way, and you don't even have to tell anyone you're praying for them.
Ever.
And I'm sure you'll see a difference.
I've experienced it personally with some of the people in my extended family. I felt like they were really hurting and wounded from childhood trauma, and I prayed for them. And I found, and this was praying with drums, which is a really good, so good for me. And I just I'm in a trance, I trance out, and I feel very connected.
You said praying with drums, so are you playing the drums?
In the background. Okay. It trances me out. I'm listening to the drum and I'm praying for the ancestors.
You're welcome, Jasmine, says the lady.
Oh, she says you're welcome.
Oh, she says thank you.
Oh, of course, yeah, we love you, girl.
Okay, so hold on. Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say just that it's an amazing strategy. Feels great to send love. And this person in my family had a big breakthrough and decided to work on their childhood trauma and wounds. And I had been praying only when I felt good energy, because sometimes I didn't feel good energy toward this person. Only when I felt good energy, only when it felt right. I was praying, and I told my husband, I was like, do you think it's going to work? He was like, baby, we're the most ancient advanced technology. You think you could send a text message?
The way he said
he's like, you think you could send a text message and a person receive it and then pray and send them vibes and frequency and them not receive it? And so that was very affirming. So I want to say this is a segue. Laura says, drum therapy with meditation is awesome. It is, Laura. And then Laura also says, well, that happens until you find your soul groups and people who you can really connect with. For sure. Like, you're one of our soul sisters.
Yeah, this is our tribe right here.
At the same time, we still always have to do the work to show up for ourselves. So I don't push my stuff emotionally onto Roger. I try not to, because I have to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? I have to be accountable. I have to take accountability for my thoughts and my feelings and work them out and sort them out for myself so that I can show and give love. You know what I mean? And add value.
Add value. That's our number one core
so
value.
So even within your soul group,
you
still always hold yourself accountable for
do the work.
caring for yourself. You must do the work. You must not overtax people that you're in a soul group with.
It's the only way I guess we come into soul groups based on our vibration.
Yeah.
So in our vibrational frequency, that's all we're looking to spend time with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, accountable.
Whereas people who are, we all have had friends who will amen anything negative we say.
Yeah.
I always prefer friends who will hold me accountable and redirect me towards where my power lies, which is in myself. Rather than anything
versus jump on the bandwagon to complain or blame.
Right. That's always
that's so. If your friends are like, yeah, girl, he ain't. Let them go.
Let them go.
Let them go. I don't care how long they've been in your life. Let them go.
Or put them on mute.
Or put them on mute
from a distance.
And then when they come around and say, hey, why you been so distant? Why you changing on me? So well, I'm working on me. I'm growing, and it's time for me to focus on me. And I want to be here. When we're together, we don't create that. So I need to do it for myself.
Oh, I detach real quick.
Oh, I detach real quick. I can love you for 20 years, and you rub me wrong the right way, and it doesn't mean that I don't care for you from the bottom of my heart. But at the top of my heart, I know it's not right to be there. So I just dismiss myself from the situation.
And I always feel like my behavior is going to tell you. Like, if I'm not in your life or I'm not calling and checking up on you, I'm super intentional about who I call and check up on, it's because you're not good for me.
And also, I feel like my mother told me this when I was really young. She was like, when you walk into the room, you're the influencer. You don't follow behind people. If the energy in the room, the energy of your company that you're keeping is going this way, don't be like, I'm just going to throw that at y'all to get along. No, you stand firm, radiate where your value system is, and they will follow suit or fall away and just watch and see what happens. And that has helped me my whole life, because I think oftentimes you can even redirect the conversation, and in that you can determine whether a person can grow with you. Because if you redirect the conversation and say, no, I'm not really, I'm really looking at where I'm responsible here, so that I see that, and I'm responsible to put boundaries there, and I'm also responsible for my emotional perspective, my engagement and manifesting whatever it is, is to articulate it. And if the person can follow that and be like, yeah, well, that's a thought, then maybe they can go with you into the future. And if they're like, what are you talking about? Or they shut down, then that clarifies
But space allows people to respect you.
Because people can even promote jealousy.
Yeah, they can.
People who call themselves friends in your thoughts and mind, which is really to promote insecurity, because I think they have to be bound. Like, if you're secure in your ability to manifest your desire, which is what it ultimately comes down to, no matter what the case is, then you're good. You know what I mean? Like, and then you use that, what would be jealousy, as fuel to be like, oh, that's what I want. And if people are like, girl, do you see what she's doing? Do you see what he said? That ain't somebody you need. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, you can create space from family.
Oh,
it's totally hard.
Man.
It's totally hard. But it's only hard if you hardly do it. So the more you practice it, the easier it becomes to realize, just because I was born into you, doesn't mean that I have to carry this energy that you have. Give space.
And I think you can, this for me, because of the nature of my personality type, it helps to still include like prayer for that person.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever rhythm, because the connection, that ancestral bloodline connection is really important. Although most of my family time is with like my spiritual chosen family, because I don't live close to my blood. At the same time, like, I learned early on with my biological father, who I don't have like a verbal connection with, that prayer or meditation, or however you want to call it, based on your vantage point, it can reach people in a way that they cannot reject.
Yeah.
Because when we use words out of our mouth, they hear them, and people can get defensive and protective and insulted and all these things. But when you're just sending energy for the betterment of all of the whole, that's irresistible. The person doesn't even know it's coming from you.
Right.
They just think it's coming from it. It's the change that happens inside of them, and in the energy that surrounds them in their life. So people yield to it. And whether or not that bridges your relationship doesn't matter, but it's a way to continue to give love to your family members without having to engage their negative or sick behaviors. You know.
I have a question. I love your necklace.
My mama made it.
Oh, really?
Thinking of my mama today.
And what stone is that?
I think this is a geode, and these are carnelian, agate, and clear quartz.
So do any of those deal with calming or is there anything that you suggest? Because as we wrap it up, is there anything?
Yeah, is there also for these feeling these sensations?
Yeah, like sometimes, and this one's not about anxiety, but sometimes feeling jealousy coming from other people, it makes you insecure. It makes you feel
anxious,
it makes you anxious. It makes you feel like you're doing something wrong. And sometimes I think we just need to calm ourselves. Sheba likes to do this right here.
Yeah.
And clear her mind.
And the feminine.
She takes it. Say it again.
So you bring the masculine and the feminine together. That feels really good. Green opal. I've had a lot of success with green opal.
And what and rubbing the hands generates the electricity and the energy of the masculine and feminine. But what else can it do for the body? Like what does it do? I did this with the young ladies. We just started with a basketball team. We got our first basketball team for Throw My Fit, and I had the young ladies do this. You know, during all the warm ups, they just kept rubbing their hands, and I mean, they just felt so renewed. But why does it generate this? Like, what's going on?
Well, what I can contribute to the conversation is they say that the right side is the masculine, the left side is the feminine, and in the body it actually turns and twists with the meridians. But when it comes together and full of prayer, it brings the oneness. So, yeah, and then you're generating heat also. And also green opal. I've had a lot of success with green opal in helping with the heart chakra and the healing and with my health.
I've had a lot of success with water.
Oh, yeah.
I found water to be cleansing and just to be present next to water, to bathe, to go to the river or streams, even when it's raining. You know, to drink water, to sprinkle water on the head. Like water, it just energetically has the ability to bring clarity and to soothe. Especially when I can think emotions like the one we're speaking about, although it's not a primary emotion, there's something primal, protective,
absolutely,
survival in it, and that's heat. And I think that water can be very cooling to allow you to then assess a situation with clarity rather than baths. And in the same way, clear quartz. So baths, but I also spend a lot of time in any kind of, Atlanta has more creeks.
So beautiful, isn't it?
You know, but like I was saying earlier, I came up in Chicago. We lived blocks from Lake Michigan. When I lived in Hawaii at the ocean, just anywhere.
Yeah, Hawaii.
The sound of water.
All of us love Hawaii. Hawaii is just awesome.
Nature is another strategy. I want to thank you for sharing that. Sprinkling of the water was a great image for me, as you said it too. I'm like, I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
I want to round out this conversation. So we've talked about a couple strategies in helping you move forward with jealousy. Examine your perception. Examine what you feel it is that you're missing in disappointment. A few strategies are to connect to nature. As Rajani was suggesting, elements of nature, the water, the alchemy of water, whether it's warm or cold, a lot of rubbing of the hands, the breath. I have a couple other strategies that I wrote down. A journal entry is always really healing for me. After the journal entry, creating a plan of action, and then setting goals so that I don't, setting goals and making them achievable and realistic so that I don't set up a vicious cycle where I'm disappointed and regretful for not meeting those goals. And that's all I have to say.
I would also add to that affirmation, because I think it's helpful to, like when we start asking ourselves questions about what it is we want, and that we see in someone else, if there's jealousy, and what that looked like for us and so forth. Also understand, like, in that, I think we can come to understand what we feel like we're not, or what we feel like we don't have, and why we feel, because we all can make stories up in
Oh,
our
totally.
subconscious mind
Yeah.
about not being worthy of
Yes.
something,
Oh,
or
absolutely.
being robbed of something,
Yeah.
or all these
Yeah.
fictitious
Yeah.
stories we make to qualify our
Mhm.
emotions when they're irrational, and emotions can easily be irrational. Just
Oh, yeah.
because we
Right.
feel something, it could be so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know for sure, but I think this might even predominate in females. Like, our emotions are so that I remember as a young woman realizing, like, I used to think if I felt it that strong, it must be true.
Oh yeah, no.
And I remember the day I learned, like, feeling it don't make it
Right.
true, you know, no matter how strong that feeling is. And so connecting with whatever that story is and rewriting that story in the affirmative to fill ourselves with our acknowledgement of our power and our ability to manifest what we choose and our worthiness of it, filling the gaps with repetitive affirmation and like as a mantra.
The worth, I am worthy, that's been a big one for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worthy because I'm here. I'm worthy because I'm worthy. Not because I do the dishes well. Not because I'm thin. Not because I'm thick. Not because I'm pretty. Not because I have something valuable to say. Not because I'm smart. I'm worthy because I'm worthy.
Right.
I like that one.
Yeah, I worked a lot in that. Thank you
I was
guys.
gonna say
Laura
thank you.
says thank you so much for your energy.
Well, we want to thank Laura for
Thank you,
jumping
Laura,
in
Jasmine.
and sending some love.
Jasmine.
And we want to thank you, Jasmine, for being open with us and being transparent.
And
Because it
asking questions,
matters,
a lot
asking
of people
questions.
probably have-
A lot of people might see this later and then have those questions, so it's great that you asked that because, you know, it needed to be spoken on. And these conversations can continue in the threads. Please, when you're in the threads, if you're commenting, don't use the threads to be
Use the threads productively.
progressively,
Yeah.
you know, but not to chastise, to bully, to argue, to debate, to get deleted, because you will. And we're not about and so
Subscribe and also share
subscribe
with
and
your
share
friends.
because
this has been a very wonderful conversation.
this is our first guest,
Yeah.
and this is our third time doing lifestyle and love. And let's go cheers, cause
Cheers.
I love y'all.
Love you too.
Thanks for being
Yes.
here. That was nice.
Salute.
That was really nice.
So
Yeah,
good.
this is really good.
These
Lifestyle
people
and
inspire
love.
me every day.
Good night.
Love you. Share with your
Peace.
friends. Peace.
Namaste.
Subscribe. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. I'm gonna hit the button.